Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel for the start of another build series. Today I am building in The Sims 3, as you can undoubtedly tell, and I am building in the town of Twinbrook, which is one of my favourite Sims 3 towns. What I'm doing in this series is pretty much exactly the same as what I did in my Sims 4 Let's Build a Row of Terraced Houses, except this time it's The Sims 3 Let's Build a Row of Terraced Houses. So the idea is pretty much the same, but the game is different. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I had such a great response from my Sims 4 Let's Build a Row of Terraced Houses. In fact, it's probably the series that got the best response out of any of my series that I've done and any of my builds that I've done, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought I would do a similar type of series, but in The Sims 3. And in The Sims 4 I built 5 houses, and The Sims 3 I am building a row of 6 homes. And as usual, if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you guys will know that I always create the Sims before I build the house, so I know who I am building the homes for. In this case, at this stage, I hadn't thought out what Sims are going to live in the homes. I was just building them, and I thought I'd make it up as I go along, which is something that I never ever really do. But I thought I would because I just wanted to get stuck into the building. I didn't want to have to come up with storylines for each of the Sims or anything like that. So I just got stuck into the building, and it soon became apparent that it's really hard for me to build without knowing who I'm building for. So you guys will know, or notice rather, that I start putting doors and windows, front doors and windows on the homes, and I keep changing my mind. I'm moving doors and windows around, and in the end I just stopped recording, and I thought I just don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can build these homes. So then I sat down and I thought up of characters to live in the homes, and then I came back to the build, and I was able to just run with it so much more. It was so much more, what am I trying to say? It was so much easier for me to decorate, or even something as simple as putting windows and doors on. That was so much easier for me knowing who was going to live in the houses. So I think for me, I'm definitely going to have to do that every time I build a home, because I just can't build without having Sims in mind. So I've done that now, and what's great about The Sims 3 is there is so much content in terms of items you can decorate your homes with, and so much gameplay content as well. So I was able to think of people to live in these homes that were all different from my Sims 4 Let's Build a Row of Terraced Houses, and so different from each other, which is insane, because if you think about it, there are 5 homes in my Sims, well, it's actually 6 now. There are 6 homes in my terrace houses for The Sims 4, and there are 6 homes here, and not one of the houses is even similar, and not one of the houses even has there aren't any of the houses that have similar Sims in either. So they're not similar in terms of decoration, and they're not similar in terms of who lives in them. So I was just really happy with that in the end. So this is where I'm getting a bit stuck, and I'm stopping and starting a lot here, you guys will notice. I'm also not familiar with The Sims 3 content really when it comes to building, because I've mentioned this before, but in case you're new to my channel, I never ever up to this point have built in The Sims 3. I have a speed build on my channel which went up I think a couple of weeks ago, and that was it was a speed build, and it was let's build a seaside family home, like a villa type home, and it was that was the first build I ever did in The Sims 3, because even though I'd had the game for so long, years and years and years, I never built. I always just played the game because I couldn't build. I don't know whether I couldn't or I just didn't want to, I don't know, but either way, I'm a newbie to the world of Sims 3 building, and yeah, that is that. So I've now decided who's going to live in each home, and this home here on the end, which I'm currently working on now, is going to be, let me just get my trusty pen and paper because I wrote it down so I would remember. This is the home of a young female sim, and she really loves gardening and fishing and the great outdoors. So her home is very outdoor type themed. It's not very modern in that sense. So that is her home there on the end, and that's the first one that I'm happy with at this stage. And then I cut back in here, and now I'm working on the second home, which is going to be for a young couple. Yes, a young couple. I'll say no more at this stage because there are going to be two sets of young couples living in this row of terrace houses, and both very similar but both very different at the same time, but I'll get into that a bit later on. And I'm just choosing some windows here. It took me ages and ages to choose windows for these homes. I wanted them to look the same, as in they are the same sort of style. They are terrace houses and they all have a bay window, but I wanted them to all look so different as well. So I was trying to come up with, I liked that, but then I felt like there was too much glass, like the whole front of the house was glass, so I think I change it up a little bit later. And then the house that I'm working on now is the home of another couple, but they're an elderly couple, a lovely couple who've been together for 50 plus years, and they are now elder sims, and the elderly man was a teacher and he's now retired, and he sort of just relaxes and enjoys his retirement. And his wife, who is a sweet old lady, she is really into baking and really into making jam, because one thing that I've never done in The Sims 3 is I've never really explored the baking skill or the gardening skill, the non-traditional gardening skill, because there's a gardening skill where you can grow cabbages and carrots and such, and then there's another gardening skill where you can grow fruits and you can use those fruits to make jams, and I've never really done that. So this house here is going to, or not the house I'm doing now, but the house I just did, is going to have lots of fruits grown in the garden, and we're making jam and having beehives and just all cute stuff like that. And then the house I've just done there with all the white windows is another young couple. And what's interesting about the young couples is they're both heterosexual couples, and in one of the homes there is a young lady who loves to horse ride. She's really, really into horses, and loves training horses and entering horses in competitions. And she is dating a man who is actually a vampire, and he is really into nightlife. He loves going out on the town. Of course he's a vampire, so he can never go and watch the horse races because he can't be out in the day. So they're literally on opposite schedules, complete opposite schedules, which is what makes them interesting. And the couples whose house I've just done, not the one I'm working on now, the one I just did previously, the gentleman that lives in that house, he really loves animals, not so much horses, but definitely cats, dogs, small rodents. He wants to have lots and lots of pets and animals, and he is dating a lady who wants to be a singer, who wants to work as a singer that came with the Showtime expansion pack. And then the house I just did with the windows that are sort of open, that house is vacant at the moment. It's up for sale, no one lives in there. And the house that I'm doing now with the black windows is going to be the home of a single sim, and she is going to be a witch. So we've got a little bit of supernatural in there. So we've got so much going on already in these homes, which is so exciting to me. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going around the outside with just brick paving. And back gardens are a lot bigger than the back gardens of my Sims 4 terraced houses, and that's because a lot of the Sims are going to be having skills that they need to work on outdoors, such as gardening and so on. So the gardens need to be a little bit bigger. And then you may notice that on the end there's quite a lot of open space. I'm going to turn that open space there into a horse stable for the young lady who loves to ride horses. She can keep horses in that stables at the end of the house. So that is the Sims who are going to be living in these homes once I finish them. And what I'm doing now is I am working on the outside decoration of the first home, which is the home of the young lady who loves plants and gardening, the great outdoors and such. And what I'm doing is I'm just covering the outside of the home in ivy. I love the fact the Sims 3 has ivy. I really like ivy. I like the way it looks. I think it's cool. So yeah, that is really cool, that little potted plant I've just put outside the witch's home. It's actually a little potted plant which has sweets growing on it, and I think that's so cool because it reminds me of the witch in Hansel and Gretel, you know, where she lures them in with those sweeties, and I thought that was quite cute. But anyway, back to this house. I just saw that and I had to put it there before I forgot about it. So back onto this house, I'm just plastering the outside in flowers, and I'm having some ivy growing on the upstairs as well, and I think the effect is really cute and I like it a lot. I did plaster my seaside family villa in ivy as well, and I love the effect of that. I think it's so cool. I'm really into the ivy. Ivy for the win, definitely. And this is the elderly couple's home, and they are again very into nature and such, so I wanted their home to have lots of ivy on it as well. So while I was in the ivy theme, I just popped loads of ivy all over their house as well. But it was a bit tough. The game didn't want to cooperate with me at some points during this build, but I worked through it, and I think I did quite well in the end, considering. And what I've done so far in this house has taken me an hour and a half worth of game play. It takes ages. I love doing builds, but it does take a really long time, which for me is a little bit difficult because I work full time and I don't get any time in the week for me to spend hours building in The Sims. So it is just the weekends, and I literally spend entire days out of the weekend building homes. So I'm gonna have to, I think I'm gonna have to just maybe post one build video a week, maybe, because I like doing more than that. I'm just restricted when it comes to time. And I love that hanging basket there, so I just popped that there. It's so cute. And I put a little bit of ivy on this house. I didn't want it to be covered in ivy, but I didn't want it to be bare, considering that the homes either side are covered in ivy. So I just put a little bit of ivy growing on the bottom there, but not as vast as the houses either side. So I've just rambled on here, and I haven't even mentioned, I'm assuming that everyone who's watching this video has watched my Sims 4 version of this, so you guys know what's going on. But if you perhaps haven't watched that and you're just picking this series up now, and this is the first video you've seen of mine, and you're not familiar with what I'm doing, this is a row of terraced houses. Terraced houses are quite popular in Europe, particularly where I live. It's all terraced houses. It's very industrial. Back in the day, there were a lot of factories, and working class people would work in the factories and would live in terrace houses surrounding the factory. So you find that terrace houses pop up a lot in areas where there's heavy industry, and that's why I felt that it would be appropriate to use Twinbrook, because Twinbrook is supposed to be the industrial type town, or the ex-industrial type town. I love those little flowers that go on the windows. They are so cute, and I use them everywhere because I just knew that there were some, but I couldn't find them for ages. And then when I did, I was like, I need to go all out with this. I'm putting these flowers on every single window that there is. So I just pop those everywhere. That house there is the one that's going to be for sale, and I'm going to see if I can find a custom content for sale sign so I can put it on the house. I think that would be really cute. But for now, I'm just putting some flowers on it, some yellow and purple, some nice bright flowers. The lighting of Twinbrook is a little bit difficult to work with. I don't know, Twinbrook is one of my favourite towns, but the lighting, I just don't like the lighting in Twinbrook. It's very, I don't know, it's very English. And by that I mean it's very overcast and very grim in that sense. And I put in these street lamps out in the in front of the homes. I think they're really cute. I like those a lot. So I plop 4 of those, I think, along the outside of the home. And I love the way the front looks now. I wasn't sure at first, but yeah, I'm into it now. And now I can start on the back. I wanted to do the general outside of the houses in this part. I haven't decorated the gardens, by which I mean I haven't, put furniture in the gardens or plants in the gardens, but I've got the general shape and the fence of the garden done because I wanted to get all the building done now, and then I wanted to furnish the gardens as I furnish each home. Depending on how quick I am, I will either do a house apart or 2 houses apart, depending on how quick I am. I'm hoping that I will speed up as I familiarise myself with The Sims 3 build and buy mode and The Sims 3 content that you can get in build and buy mode. I'm hoping that I will speed up, but at the moment I am quite slow, so we will see. We'll see how it goes. Those got stuck there. I tried to remove those black poles, but they got stuck there, so I just had to leave them in the end. They were from a gate that I put there temporarily, and yeah, it got stuck there, which I guess is fine. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting gates in everyone's garden because what I envisage in my head, this is what I imagine happening, that your Sims can be in the garden and then they can leave via the back and walk around if they need to. So if they need to get to the stables or what have you, they can get to the stables from their back garden rather than having to come out the front if they're already in the back. And a lot of terraced houses will have their yard at the back with a gate so you can walk around the back. I believe originally it was for coal and the distribution of coal, because of course there was no central heating back in the day. Everyone had fireplaces. There was fireplaces in every room, I think, back in the day. So what would happen is the man would, or woman I guess, but probably man back in those days, the man would come to deliver the coal, and what he would do is he would walk. There would be a row of terrace houses like this, and then there would be a mirror of what we've got now on the other side. So there would be a pathway in between 2 sets of yards, and the man with the coal would walk down this pathway and distribute coal into each property. That way, when lots of coal had to be delivered for heating the homes. Obviously now that isn't necessary because hardly anyone has a coal fireplace. I think in the 70s and 80s it wasn't very cool to have an original fireplace setting. A lot of people had theirs removed, which is really sad because original fireplaces are so pretty. I love homes with original features, so it is sad that a lot of them have been removed, but at the same time it was very messy having a working fireplace. I mean, lots of soot and such. They're very hard to maintain, I believe. I've never had one myself, but I would like one. I know they're hard to maintain, but it would just be so nice to have a real working fireplace. Maybe not so much a fireplace, maybe a wood burner would be easier to maintain, but yeah, I wouldn't mind having a real fireplace because it just would be so cozy and nice. But beggars can't be choosers, and a lot of homes don't have original features, and the ones that do can be quite popular. So yeah, anyway, carrying on, I have now done the gardens. I've done the fences anyway. Those little bits of rooms that are sticking out, they are extensions. Lots of terrace homes have an extension like that out the back. It's quite common. So all of these homes have an extension apart from the home at the very end, because that sim there is the sim that loves gardening so much, and I imagine that she wouldn't want to have a extension cutting into her outdoor space, so I didn't give her an extension there, but all of the others do because they need a little bit more room. I also think it would be a lot better in The Sims 3, the whole terrace house idea, because I know I enjoy it in The Sims 4, but in The Sims 3 you could have more than 8 Sims per household using NRAS master controller and NRAS portrait panel. You can have more than 8 Sims per household, so you could literally fill up these homes with as many Sims as you wanted, and you could have as many babies as you wanted. You wouldn't be restricted at all. So yeah, and I tried my hardest to make them all different, to make all of these homes completely different. I didn't want them to be in any way similar, so they all have different windows, and some of them have really odd windows, like that Into the Future window there. You can see the circle one. That's really crazy to have on a terraced house, but the Sims that live there are quite contemporary in the decoration, and they really love the circular window, so that's what they got, which I think they will be pleased with. And the one that I'm doing now, the home that I'm doing now, is the elderly couple, and I've given them little shutters because I think they're so cute, and I make them yellow because, I don't know, just imagine cute old couple making jam with their yellow shutters, and it would just be so cute. So that's what I went with there. And what I'm doing now is I'm doing the final home, or the final home that doesn't have windows at the back. And what I'm doing is I'm giving this Sim, who loves the outdoors so much, great big floor length windows at the back so that she can see out into her garden, which she loves so much. So I think she would enjoy that quite a lot, and they are white as well. And I think that is me done, except I don't know where I'm putting ivy on the back, where I'm putting more flowers on the back. I'm just making sure that it's all of the attention to detail is addressed, and we've got lots of lights at the back as well, because if you were out in your garden at night, you would need to be able to see what you were doing, so outdoor lighting is very important. So I'm just plopping tons of lights everywhere. There's quite, I don't know, on one hand there is a lot of outdoor lighting in The Sims 3, and on the other hand there wasn't a great deal of choice, so I didn't really know, but I tried to keep it as I try not to use the same thing over and over again, like I've mentioned previously. Again, with the flowers, I love them, they are so cute. This is the house that's empty at the moment, it's the one that's for sale, but it still needs to look pretty, so I put some flowers on there. And I think that is me done. Oh no, more lights. This is around the elderly couple's home. They have a white picket fence, which is so cute, and I've got tons of lights because they like it to be well lit out there. And then I think that is all I do around the back. And I think I now start onto the stables. I am right. I grab a nice tall wooden fence, because you wouldn't want the horses to be able to get over the fence there. So I just run that, or wrap that right around that whole area. I've got move objects on, so I am able to go right up to the edge of the lot, which is really cool. And I just completely close that off, and then I put some some gates, so that you can enter. And then what I do is I grab the stables. Here I am. No, I haven't done it yet, but I will in a second. I was curious as to what that was, but yeah, I grab the, what am I doing? I'm all over the place. I grab the stable, there you go. I choose the other one though, the more rustic themed one, and I plop that at the end there. And then I just get some hay and some water, and I also get some of the jumps. I'm not sure if they will be able to use them, because I sort of put them, I put them at an angle like that, so I don't know if they'll actually be able to use them or not, but they look cool, and if I want them to actually be used, I could always just move them at that time. At the moment, I just want them to look nice. So that is going to be all for this part, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, because that would be really, really cool. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this series so far. And subscribe to my channel so you know when the next part of this series comes out. Like I said, I'm hoping for it to be once a week. And check out my other videos if you haven't already, and check out my other series, because I do put a lot of time and effort into this channel, so it would be awesome for you to do that. So I want to thank you so much for watching today, and I will of course see you in the very next part, but bye for now.